So today we're going to be talking about the command line or terminal or bash shell, whatever you want to call it, and how you can tell your computer what to do with some simple commands which help you use your Cloud9 workspace more easily. When you open your Cloud9, you start with this left view where you see some folders and stuff that you have, this bottom pane where you have your terminal, and then the middle pane which would show your files. I'm just going to increase the size of the bottom pane as well as the left pane because we're going to be focusing on the terminal screen as well as how that translates to your kind of folders UI view that you see on the left. Now, when we start out, we are in Numan CS490 workspace, which has this kind of path called something something environment. And if you see here in the terminal, these blue letters here are going to tell you what your current directory or folder you're in is called. So here you can see environment, which matches up to environment over here. Now, to do a command, you simply just type something in. So I'm going to start with the most basic command, ls, and then press enter. ls stands for list stuff, and it basically just shows you whatever files and folders are in your current directory, which you can see here just by clicking this drop down, and you can see, so hello world, project one, and so on. Now, what if you want to click into another directory? So I don't want to be in this environment folder. I want to be in project one. What you can do is use the command cd or change directory, and then the name of the folder, so project one. You press enter, and now you'll notice there was no output, but this right here, this current directory changed from environment to project one. Now I want to see what is in project one. So here you could obviously click this drop down, but here I will use ls. And now you can see all of these files and folders that are included in here. Now to go back up, you can use cd dot dot. This dot dot basically represents moving up to the parent folder. So now you see we've gone to environment. So another way of doing things, there's this concept of an absolute path and a relative path. When I was using these dot dots, that I'm basically saying relative to my current folder, I want to be one level higher. You can also basically say cd tilde, which is basically your home or a kind of starting point directory, which will be represented right here, and then a slash, and then basically anything you want to go into. So I could go into environment slash project one slash, and then maybe static. So I'm not going one folder in at a time, but I can use this absolute path here to directly jump right into this static folder. And you could do the same thing by going relatively through within each folder, but this can be a faster way to do it. Now, the relative paths, you can also use this sort of dot dot notation that I was showing. So now if I press dot dot once, then I'm going into project one. But if I do slash dot dot twice, then I will be in the environment folder. And maybe after that, if I press enter, you will see that I'm back in the environment. So that's kind of the basic way of how relative and absolute paths go. One last thing you can do is pwd, which prints your working directory. This is the full file path for where you are currently located, which is kind of represented here as well. Now I have all this crap that I've written on the screen. What if you just want to make it go away? You can just say clear, enter, and then the screen is cleared. So next thing we want to do is make a folder or a file. To make a folder, you're going to use the command mkdir, which stands for make directory, and then the name of your folder. So let's say lecture 3. I press enter. How do I know that the folder is there? Well, in the UI, you can see here that lecture 3 has now appeared, wasn't there before, but you can also do ls, and now from listing stuff, you see lecture 3 right there. Now, what if you want to make a new file? We made a new folder. To do that, you basically use the command called touch, and then you're going to include the name of your file. So maybe I'm making a Python file. I'm going to say demo.py. And as you can see right here on the right as well, demo.py shows up. But to confirm, if I do ls, we have this right here. There's also this concept of hidden files. So right now, there's some other files that start with a dot, and you can't see them because normally they're not going to show up in the UI. Let's make a hidden file first. So you can do touch, I'm going to do dot hidden.py. So as you can see, nothing actually showed up on the left. There was no new file added to the UI. And if I do ls, I don't see an actual hidden.py here. So in order to see every file that's in this directory, not just the ones that are not hidden, you'll do ls.a to see all the files. Now you can see you're seeing a lot more files than earlier, bashrc, c9, as well as your hidden.py file. So this is going to be useful in the next demo when we talk more about bashrc files. Now, we've done some kind of creation of files and folders. Let's also do moving. So what if I want to take my hidden file and move it into my lecture 3 folder? So you're going to use mv move, and then the name of your file, and then where you want it to go. So I want it to go to the lecture 3 folder. Now let's see what happened. First, let's make sure that this file is no longer in our current directory because we moved it. You can see hidden is now gone. Now let's confirm that it actually went to lecture 3. So cd, change directory. And then if I don't feel like typing lecture 3, I could actually just press L. So the first letter maybe of where I want to go, and then tab. So this is called tab complete. When you press tab, then it'll automatically find if anything matches what you started writing out, and it'll complete that word for you. So it's a lot faster to go around using your tab complete. So I've moved into lecture 3. Now I'll do ls-a, and I can see hidden py is now here where I had moved it to. Cool. I'm going to clear all this. Next thing I want to do is just say, like, so bash is kind of a programming language in some sense. What's the hello world for it? You know, in Python, you're just going to do something like print hello world. That obviously doesn't work in bash. It has its own syntax. So here you see syntax error. How you do it here is you use the word echo and then your string, echo hello world, and then prints to the output that same string, hello world. Simple as that. You can get even more interesting though here and actually chain commands. So something that's meant to be output here in, by the terminal can then be piped, is what we say, into another place. So I'm going to do echo hello world, and I'm going to use this operator, this greater than sign, and I'm going to basically write this output into a file itself. So right now we have our, let's see. Well, first, let's see what files we even have here. We don't have any left yet, so I'm going to create a quick file, demo.txt. It's there now. So back to what I was doing, I'm going to take this echo output, and I'm actually going to pipe it into the demo.txt file. So basically what this is doing is it's taking that output and writing it into this file. So how do I actually view the file? There's a few ways to do it. One, of course, is that you could simply just click on the file and open it up in your Cloud9. But if you want to see it in your terminal itself, you can use cat and then the file name, and then it'll just print whatever is in that file itself. So when I did that, you can see that hello world was written into this file. You can also use the two greater than signs in order to add on more to a file. So adding one more line, and I'm going to use two greater than signs and move it to the same file. Now, what would we expect here? We would expect that when we do cat demo.txt, we see hello world from before, but also adding one more line. So one greater than sign is to kind of replace a file with this text. Two greater than is just to add on to it. Now, final thing that we can do with bash is just chain commands. And how we can do that is we can use, in one sense, we can use a semicolon, very similar to JavaScript or Java that we're already used to. And you could do something like this. So echo hello num1, and then we're gonna add it to our same file. Then you add a semicolon, and I want to actually print out the contents of that file. So without having to do two separate commands, I can use the semicolon and do it all in one. And now you can see in the output, we have hello num1. There's one more way to do that. And if I want to pull up a command that I just ran and not have to rewrite the whole thing, you can press the up arrow. And if you keep pressing it, you can go through the history of what you've written. So I'm just going to press up once so I can go to this. And instead of the semicolon, I'm going to put double and. That basically says if the first command is successful, it'll return a 1 or something, and then it'll know that it can do the second command, but only if it's successful. So now I'm going to echo hello num1, and what would we expect if I run this line? I'm adding this onto the existing file, so when you press enter, you should be seeing two hello num1s, and that's what we see here. So that's kind of a high level of how to use bash, and let me know if you have any questions.